Do I know? So, I can embarrass myself if you'd like. Tu te prêt manger? You can use that in the outtakes. I don't know.
Yeah, it will be on the bloopers.
My name's Rich. Some people know me online as Rich CL. My full name is Rich Cuellar-Lopez, and I get to lead the marketplace team at Pokt Network. Well, we do a lot of things. Mainly, we provide infrastructure, critical infrastructure for different blockchains. But specifically, we have a DAO, and we have our own native blockchain, the Pokt Network blockchain, and we have a native token. So there are lots of parts that go into it, but more specifically, Pokt Network is essentially providing that critical piece of infrastructure that connects apps with actual nodes for different blockchains. So right now, more than 20 different blockchains have nodes that get paid to essentially relay traffic from apps through the Pokt Network, specifically to the nodes, and then the data goes back. And so that's kind of like the overview of the core function of Pokt Network. It's a tough question. So Pokt Network serves a very simple function, and that's to provide data from someone who's providing it, like an app. And so if you think about like your cell phone, it has a bunch of apps. You need to send data to the core data source, which is usually a database, but in this case it's blockchain. And what we do is we just relay in between the two. Now what's really cool about that, we do that with 100% uptime. We do that in a decentralized way. We do it in a private way. And so, if you were to have some cool app you were building, but you sent it to some type of centralized, data relayer or storage facility, and like if Amazon Web Services goes down, your app isn't gonna work right away. Or it's not gonna work at that moment, or it may not work quite. And so, the very simple explanation is that we provide that relay that makes sure that your app works, so it has 100% uptime, that data is private. And what's really cool about what Pokt does is it's decentralized. So we have over 30,000 nodes that provide data without even knowing what that data is. And that's very different than some services that provide that data but are housed in a company that they make money off of your data. We don't make money off of your data. We only reward people who essentially relay it, and it's a very simple functionality. It's a very simple blockchain, but we think it's a critical piece of infrastructure. It's magnificently changing what it feels like every week. If we had this interview last year, we would have been talking about specific trends. I think we were just like starting to get into NFTs, and we were coming off we were coming off of like a very prolonged DeFi summer, and we were talking about specific chains like Binance Smart Chain that wow, there's alternatives to Ethereum. 1 year later, now we live in a multi-chain world where there are too many Ethereum-like chains, EVMs, to count and to even compare. And so we've accepted, at least at Pokt Network, that we live in this multi-chain world, and block space is it's limited, it's rare, and so we kind of have to find these different ecosystems. And what I specifically love about crypto is that you come to collaborate over core tenets of just building on blockchains, but everyone has their own little flavor. And so I'm a firm believer that we're going to continue building out new blockchains, and that's great for Pokt Network because we are blockchain agnostic. We are just the infrastructure. But we're talking right now. We're at ETHDenver, and I'd probably say 4 out of 5 people I talk to aren't really necessarily building on Ethereum proper, but they're building on an Ethereum derivative, and we all love Ethereum. But this space is changing. We're all building new chains and doing new things, and I love that change. pretty bullish on DAOs. You know, I see the value in metaverse. I see the value in NFTs. DeFi I think, is a mainstay, but I think how people organize is really tough. It's tough to engineer. It's tough to fully understand. It's just a tough problem to solve, or tough not to crack. And I think for DAOs, I'm just endlessly fascinated about, you know, what it helps us get better at. And so, like, people joke about, like, oh, the future of work is such. You know, maybe they're talking about, like, remote work and things like that, but, like, you know, depending on which DAO you're part of, or you want to contribute to, or maybe work at full time, or you want to create, like, it's so much more than, like, oh, we're a bunch of randos on the internet who want to talk. You can do so much, be it, you know, actually own assets, or, you know, have a whole workforce that's not rolled up into a hierarchy, or, you know, you can actually create, like, on-chain commitments through DAOs. And you know, I think it's not a simple kind of one killer app. I think we're going to be talking about DAOs, you know, till long after I'm gone. And, you know, I'm in it for the long game. And so I think the easiest answer for me to provide is, like, we're not going to be talking about corporations when I'm, like, an old fogey, you know, telling people to get off my lawn. We're going to be talking about DAOs, and I'm really excited to be, you know, kind of there at the nascent stage of that kind of takeoff. I think that interoperability is something that will just evolve. You know, I like to think of how you kind of have two different chains, and if you want them to truly work together, you have to build, you know, pretty advanced functionality and protocols that essentially, like, understand the key building blocks from each and make them somewhat uniform, so they can truly communicate. And I think there's some great ecosystems that do that. And so, like, I like the IBC kind of, you know, protocol in Cosmos, because I think it's very holistic. And that's not to shill that particular project. I just think it's comprehensive. But then you have bridges, and then, like, bridges can essentially, like, just take an asset here and bring it over there. And I don't think that's very comprehensive. You know, like, if you're working on chain A and you're gonna do something on chain B, yeah, you can take assets from chain A and move it to chain B, but, like, do you just wanna get the assets in chain B in some other way or form? And I think people try and just branch out into new ways holding that original asset, and they count on bridges to kind of get them there. And I think that's a simple use. You know, a lot of things come down to, like, how assets are used and, you know, find utility in the real worlds, you know, and in crypto worlds. And so that's why fiat on-ramps and off-ramps exist. But if we're just trying to move value from here to there, that exists, and that's fine, and it will be hacked because there are funds involved, and it will be exploited because people are incentivized to try and hack it. But I think the true kind of evolved take is, like, how do we get a contract on chain A to be able to interact with the contract in chain B, so it's almost as if I'm using the same kind of uniform chain feel. And I think that there's still a lot of work to be done on, like, how chains truly communicate with each other versus how do I just get, you know, my ETH from here to my ETH there. I think it's not to, like, undermine that purpose, but it's to say, like, it's just scratching the surface. And I really applaud protocols that are trying to truly mesh together functionality from different chains. Do I know some? I can embarrass myself if you'd like. Tu te prêt manger? You can use that in the outtakes. I don't know.
Yeah, it should be in the bloopers.
Merci beaucoup. I don't know. I'll just use safe words like that.